Hi guys, my name's Hannah and I have recently volunteered at Uganda Lodge for about 5 weeks at the start of February this year, 2018. So I just wanted to put together a little video of why I did the experience I did, why I loved it, and why I think you should do it too. So a little bit about me then. So I am a registered children's nurse back in the UK, and I work on an intensive care unit. Nursing has always been a huge passion of mine, and I've always wanted to go to somewhere completely worlds apart to help wherever possible. I have previously looked at medical and nursing electives, especially during my nurse training, but I never undertaken any, just for the fact that I always thought that they were far too expensive. When I initially started inquiring at Uganda Lodge about the sort of things that I would be interested in doing whilst volunteering, they assured me that nursing was something that I could definitely get stuck into. So when I arrived in Uganda, they put me in contact with the district council where I was approved to help volunteer at the local hospital. The hospital that I volunteered at was called Itojo, and it was about 5 minutes from the lodge itself. I mainly spent time on the paediatric ward where I would assist treat conditions such as malaria, typhoid, gastroenteritis, lots of coughs and colds with bronchiolitis and pneumonia, severe malnutrition, and lots of different types of wounds and burns than we would naturally see here in the UK, just because of the insult of injury. The other departments that they have at the hospital are male and female adult wards. They have a dental and eye clinic. They have blood bank, pharmacy, outpatients, casualty and an A&E department. And then they also have a maternity and labour ward. And here I was able to assist the delivery of 2 healthy babies, which I have never ever done before. And that was just magical in itself, and definitely a personal ambition that I managed to tick off while I was out there. So back at Uganda Lodge itself, they also have a healthcare sector. So they have set up a McNeil Medical Centre, which I believe from memory was set up in about 2004. And it's run by local nurses out in the community 24/7. So it's a health centre which helps support the treatment and health of the local school children at Ruhanga Primary School, which is also part of Uganda Lodge. At the school there are about 560 children, and whilst I was volunteering at Uganda Lodge, I worked alongside the health centre to complete medical checks on all 560 children and give them basic health care should they need it for things such as the conditions I mentioned earlier. I think when we were performing this, we completed about 40% of treatment on pupils who we did checks on. So these checks included things such as baseline measurements, heights, weights, etc. A baseline set of observations, so your pulse, respiration rate, temperature, and a head to toe assessment. And that's where we generally found out they had an ailment or an illness that we could just treat fairly easily with the resources we had at McNeil Medical Centre. There is a report that has been written on this. Should you have an interest in it, I'm sure you'd be able to have access to it and to read it. The centre itself also offers services to the local community. They have a few patients that are elderly in the community that are less mobile and quite frail. So the services they would provide would be to deliver medications and pain relief, and continually assess their needs. They would also occasionally take them food and water should they need it. And sometimes what they would need is just a bit of company and a bit of love. So these patients, when they couldn't move, they would generally sit on their mattress all day, every day. And when you would visit, you would open the door to their hut that would let light in, as well as the letting yourself in. But by spending about half an hour of time with them, that would just complete their day, make their week, make their year. And it was one of the most heartwarming things that I feel I've ever done in my life, just to put a smile on someone else's face that wouldn't be there otherwise. So if you have the chance, I'd definitely say to go and visit them. And their living conditions are completely different to ours and very eye-opening, so it's definitely an experience worth having. McNeil Medical Centre also offer immunisations to the local community, and they have these days that are actually supported by Itojo Hospital, where nurses from the hospital come over and set up the immunisation schedules with the nurses that work at McNeil Medical Centre, and they work together to help immunise the local community. They also hold baby clinic, which was one of my favourite days. This is held once a month and helps complete developmental checks on the babies in the community. So trying to undo their makeshift nappies with various pieces of cloth and material that the mums have found is challenging but hilarious, and it's all just to get a weight. So you will have fun trying to do that if you get involved with days like baby clinic. They also have health awareness days. I know they've recently done one on polio, and we also helped introduce teaching to the school children on these health topics. So I think the ones that we focused on with the school children were things like HIV, malaria and typhoid, just because they're very common out there. And it was just a way of telling the children about the signs and symptoms so that they could refer themselves to get treatment if they were thinking that they had suffered from this, but also a way to teach them how to prevent getting these illnesses in the future. So yeah, McNeil Medical Centre is part of Uganda Lodge, as is Ruhanga Primary School. What else is part of Uganda Lodge? So they have a vocational training centre. So at the moment I know that they have a sewing skills centre. They have a hairdressing centre. They have a man that makes flip-flops from recycled tyres. So I definitely purchased a pair of those. You can choose your own colour beads and everything. And they are also in the process of building a restaurant which will teach locals how to make food and teach them culinary and cooking skills, and that will also provide them with an income as well and future employment opportunities. So the vocational training centre is just focused on teaching people in the local community certain skills and trades which might brighten their future opportunities. So if you have anything to offer, I'm sure your skills will be much welcomed out there. And it's just really great to see that actually Uganda Lodge is quite well rounded and offers services that will enrich the whole community. So my time at the lodge, as you can probably tell, was quite heavily influenced by my nursing background, but there are loads of activities that you can get involved in. So having Ruhanga Primary School on site, it brings lots of teaching opportunities with it. So if you have a teaching background or you wanted to get involved with the teaching out there, it's most welcomed. Sporting and sport activities are also a huge part of the day-to-day life for the children in Uganda. So if you can kick a ball, you're in. The PE lessons out there, they're always so much fun. So if you have an interest in sports or wanted to even conduct your own lessons or introduce different sporting games, then I'm sure you'd be able to do that. The children at the school, I think about over half of them board, so we have dormitories on the school site as well. Unfortunately, the dormitories are really full. They have triple bunk beds in, not just double bunk beds. They have triple bunk beds. And unfortunately, even some of those bunks are actually doubled up with some of the students. So they have overspilled into some classrooms, and donations at the moment are being used to build more dormitories and rebuild classrooms that have been used as makeshift dormitories in the meantime. So yeah, the children that board, there's always activities to do with them outside school hours and also on weekends. I know during half-term periods when the children tend to go home to their families, that there is always a revamp then of the classrooms. So hopefully you'll find some pictures of the classrooms somewhere, but a lot of them are decorated with like the solar system, maps, various posters. So if you have an idea of how you'd like to revamp a classroom, then I'm sure that would be really welcomed as well. So yeah, any painting, decorating, building trades or skills that you might have are going to be utilised hugely at Uganda Lodge. Creativity is a huge thing, to come up with different lessons, sessions, just time with the children. So loom bands was a really big thing. And we also, some volunteers brought out like paper plates and loads of craft materials, and we made like animal faces from the plates and things like that, and cut out holes for your eyes. So that was a really fun session too. The activities that you tend to do, you're never alone in, because all of the volunteers get involved, get stuck together, and everyone there just gets completely stuck in. There are other activities that you can do outside of kind of the charities within the lodge. So these include doing a chimpanzee habituation, which is what I did. So this is where you have a full day trekking and following the chimpanzees around the forest. It's merely just for a research and conservation point of view. So by habituating them and getting them used to human presence, that means trackers can conduct necessary research and conservation on them to make them last hopefully a bit longer than they would otherwise. I also, whilst I was there, was able to do a mountain gorilla experience. I think, if I remember the fact right, there are about 850 mountain gorillas left, and they are based in Rwanda, Congo and Uganda. So I managed to do it whilst I was out in Uganda. And again, it was set up by the lodge for me. This is a day where it was a full day trekking again, but we weren't following them round. We were merely going in deep into the mountains to find the trackers with the gorillas, and then we had about an hour or two where we could just sit and observe them. So we, on my tour, came across 13 gorillas, which included 2 silverbacks and some young gorillas as well, and we were just able to witness them in their natural environment, just kind of picking each other's armpits and swinging on trees and doing what gorillas do. We also did a few day trips, so we went to Lake Binyoni as a group of volunteers, and on the lake itself there are 29 mini islands. I say mini, but some of the islands actually have schools and hospitals on them themselves. But we got a boat and we went around all the islands for the day. We had lunch out as well, so that was really good. There is also Queen Elizabeth National Park, which is in Uganda, and Dennis Ahiri, who is the founder of Uganda Lodge, he has some land on Queen Elizabeth National Park, and he has his own safari, which is 2 or 3 nights in tents, camping alongside the hippos, lions and elephants. So if you wanted to do that, that's something that they offer there, and the volunteers that did do that absolutely raved about it, and they managed to get pictures where they looked too close to the animals. I didn't do that because I did an overlanding safari trip down Southeast Africa after my time volunteering, but Uganda Lodge itself offers that, and you could kind of do it all with your volunteering experience, so you wouldn't have to do what I did and go to different countries to get that experience. The location of the lodge itself is about a 6-hour bus journey once you've flown into Entebbe Airport down to Ntungamo, which is where the lodge is. It's on a main road, so you have the volunteer area, which is separate to the rest of the facilities at Uganda Lodge. So you have your room, which is your own room, and it's padlocked with, it's next to a food banda, which is where you get served your meals, so it's very important. And then there's a bar area with like a snooker table and a fire pit, so most nights the volunteers will just sit up there and we'll just chat and have a few beers. So next to the volunteer centre, on the same side of the road, there is the school, which is where the classrooms and the dormitories are, and a big sports field. And then opposite, on the other side of the road, is where you have the vocational training centre, the up-and-coming restaurant, and McNeil Medical Centre. It's kind of set within a valley, so you've got hills on either side, which the kids will run up and down 10 times by the time it's taken you to reach the top. And the views are just 360 degrees all around, amazing, stunning views. Try not to go at midday sun because you need a good bottle of water and a lot of sunscreen on, but it's definitely worth going. The other thing that is very special about Uganda Lodge is the fact that the school have a choir, and these songs aren't just like normal choir songs, they are extra special. When volunteers come to Uganda Lodge and when they leave, the choir actually sing and welcome and sing and say farewell to them. I know I was in tears when I was sang farewell to, but these choir songs, I don't think they'll ever leave my brain. They are ingrained on it. They are so catchy and so much fun, and the kids will get you up and dancing in the choir as well, so it's amazing. It's a very, very joyous occasion. I think I've pretty much covered all bases of the lodge. Other volunteers that I was out there with were people from like gap years to retired ages. We were from all around the world, all different walks of life, and we all just wanted kind of the same experience, just bringing our own stuff to it and our own personal objectives, which I definitely ticked mine off and more. I think the one thing I probably have left to say about Uganda is what a teenage boy told me when he was explaining his country to me. And the country of Uganda has a national bird called the crested crane. If you get a picture of this up, it will make a lot more sense what I'm saying. But this bird is black, yellow and red in colour. So the teenage boy, he was called Justice. He told me that the bird is black because they have a black heritage and they are black in colour. He explained that the bird has red on it because we all share the same blood. And all across the world, we are all the same and we are all equal. He said it has yellow on it because Uganda is sunny and happy and it is a very hot country. And he also then said that the bird itself has like feathers at the top which look like a crown. And he said it has a crown on it because it's something extra special. And that's exactly what my experience has been. It's been something extra special, it's been magical, and it's been unforgettable. If I could do it again, I would in a heartbeat. I just think if you're even thinking about doing something like this, then just do it. It's amazing. And I certainly have no regrets. So yeah, if you need any more information, then don't hesitate to ask me or anyone else who is on the volunteer programme. And let me know how you get on. So enjoy, guys, and good luck.